He told the bird to hush 4 nights running before he thought to ask what it was actually reacting to. Thaddeus Kingsolver Adeyemi had owned African gray parrots for over a decade and considered himself an expert on their vocal quirks. Random word repetition mimicked household sounds, the occasional nonsensical outburst at odd hours. So when their parrot, Ezra, began shrieking the word up, up, up from his perch near the nursery every night around 2 a.m., Thaddeus assumed it was simply an old habit resurfacing, nothing tied to anything real. He'd get up, hush the bird, and go back to bed, irritated but unconcerned. That detail would matter. He didn't clock it yet. By the third night, Ezra's shrieking had grown more insistent, repeating the phrase faster, louder, with an urgency that didn't match his usual random late-night chatter. Thaddeus's wife, Perpetua, stirred awake that night and said the thing he'd been dismissing. He's never repeated anything that many times in a row. Something's different. Thaddeus, 10 years of parrot ownership behind him, still brushed it off as coincidence. Birds fixated on phrases sometimes, he reasoned, and Ezra had always been prone to dramatic outbursts. Fourth night, Ezra's shrieking woke both of them at almost the exact same hour again. Louder still, nearly frantic. Perpetua finally got up first this time. Tracing the sound to the nursery doorway where Ezra's perch sat just outside and looked in on 6-month-old Odalys out of simple habit rather than real alarm. Odalys's soft blanket had worked its way up over her face during sleep, her breathing muffled but not yet distressed, the kind of slow, silent hazard that rarely announces itself with any sound a parent could hear from another room. Perpetua adjusted the blanket immediately, checked Odalys's breathing and color, both normal within moments, and sat with her for a while just to be sure. The pediatrician they called the next morning, more out of caution than urgency, confirmed what the timing suggested. Blanket displacement during sleep is one of those things that develops silently, she said. If your bird's calling attention to it at the same time every night, that's worth paying attention to, not dismissing as noise. Thaddeus sat with his coffee the next morning, turning that sentence over. Ezra's shrieking. The same phrase, the same hour, 4 nights straight. Not random bird chatter. 10 years of parrot ownership hadn't prepared him to recognize a pattern that's specific and that consistent as anything other than background noise. The urgency building each night, not repetition for its own sake, an alarm getting louder because nobody down the hall had connected it yet. If you love stories about what animals notice before we do, subscribe. When Animals Act posts a new one every week. They switched Odalys to a sleep sack the following day, removing the loose blanket from her crib entirely. Ezra's 2 a.m. shrieking stopped that same night. Task apparently finished. Has an animal in your home ever repeated something that turned out to matter? Tell us in the comments below. These stories deserve to be heard. Odalys sleeps soundly now, blanket-free, Ezra dozing quietly on his perch through the night, no longer needing to call out. If this story mattered to you, subscribe so you never miss the next one. Next week's story is about a golden retriever who refused to let a newborn sleep anywhere but pressed against his side.